Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Devil's Digest postgame show following Arizona State's 81-66 loss against Cal. My name is Justin Lacertosa. Alongside myself, as always, is publisher Hode Rubino. And Hode, coming into this contest, the goal was to split the series against the two Bay Area schools this weekend, but Arizona State suffered their biggest home loss of the season against a team that they beat just a couple weeks prior.
Yeah, I think there was definitely concern if that Stanford game would have a hangover over Arizona State. Technically it was a single-digit loss, but it was a game that Stanford was leading by double digits for a good portion of the game. Head coach Bobby Hurley did talk after the Cal game, having a long team meeting yesterday, really trying to avoid exactly that hangover. And I think much to his chagrin, and chagrin obviously of the Sun Devil fans out there, it really did come full circle in terms of the selfish play, in terms of the disjointed team. As we know, ASU finished the non-conference slate on a 3-game losing streak, and really 3 games where for the most part they didn't even look they belonged on the same court as their opponent. And Bobby Hurley talked about over the winter break really trying to get this team playing together, playing in a more cohesive manner, which, let's face it, with 10 newcomers is hard to do. But ASU, at least when they started out Pac-12 play, it looks like they were on the right path. They started out 4-0. They only won 1 game since then. So that 4-0 start, some would say, was really just a mirage in the desert, if you will. And here's Arizona State is really finding itself pretty much in the same place that they were before Pac-12 play just started. And it just seems the hole gets deeper and deeper. Stanford and Cal are not world beaters at all compared to other teams that they have faced and will face in the Pac-12. So I think it's just really disappointing that not even be able to get a split to show some kinds of sign of life, especially at home, a court where they only lost 1 game going into this series with the Bay Area schools, and now they find themselves really even below the middle of the pack. And again, it's a very bunched up Pac-12, but ASU is creating distance in obviously in the negative direction right now after losing 4 in a row.
And Hode, you mentioned that Arizona State started off the Pac-12 play 4-0, and they haven't won a game since. They lost 6 out of their last 7 games, lost 4 straight. So obviously coming into this game, adjustments had to be made, and most specifically developing that bench unit, getting more guys involved. Arizona State saw 10 guys on the floor playing in action today, but clearly that didn't do the job.
Yeah, they did get 22 points off the bench. Sean Phillips came off and scored 14 points. Did get 7 rebounds. You can say definitely some of that was in garbage time, so maybe you really have to put it in perspective. I know that you didn't want to get more production in the bench play by benching starter Jose Perez for the second half. Bobby Hurley said it was a coach's decision, which definitely makes you feel that it was not injury related at all, actually disciplinary. I mean, you look at the box score for Jose Perez in the first half, and it wasn't really anything great, scoring only 1 point, but really only had 1 point turnover. But maybe that goes to the point that Bobby Hurley made about the team maybe playing more of that hero ball, really being disjointed, not being cohesive. I mean, Hurley said that he was pleased with the way that ASU played in the second half. They did score 40 points, but Cal scored 43. Cal shot 50% not only in the first half, but for the entire contest. I just feel that ASU just didn't have any answers whatsoever for Cal, even though the second half was somewhat better than the first half. But just the first half was really almost an abomination, I would say. Just getting dominated really in every facet. Cal ends the game with 18 assists, and that is definitely a sign of offense that was running much smoother than the Sun Devils' offense, which only had 9 assists for the game. They were able to force some turnovers by Cal, 13 to be exact, but ASU only scores 11 points off of those turnovers. Not to belabor their point, but ASU is a team where the defense is going to fuel the offense, and I felt that really did not happen at all. Even though ASU did not get dominated on the boards, actually had a 15-9 edge on the offensive end of the boards. Scored 23 second chance points, but again, maybe some of that really did come in garbage time, and again, really didn't make a whole lot difference, on the box score. So there was a lot of soul searching for this team to do after they lost to both Oregon teams on the road in double digits, and here they are, just really finding themselves in the same position. Maybe the whole would say, is deeper right now, because ASU just does not have any answers whatsoever to playing better basketball, to coming anywhere close to they were to that 4-0 start in Pac-12 play. So there's a lot of questions that ASU has to address, and so far they really have not been able to answer any of them effectively.
So let's backtrack it a little bit. Before conference play began, obviously this Arizona State team had a lot of troubles, and they opened up conference play against the two Bay Area schools. They swept them both on the road, and that sort of was the resurgence that allowed them to start 4-0 in conference play. But now the tide has sort of changed. Arizona State was looking for a jolt of energy this weekend against the Bay Area schools. This time here in Tempe, they didn't really get that jolt of energy. There's not much left to play in this season. Zohod, is there any chance this Arizona State team could prove the doubters wrong again and dig themselves out of this hole?
Well, you wish they played maybe quote-unquote comfortable opponents next week to dig themselves off the hole, but not only do they go on the road, they go on the road against the mountain schools. Colorado and Utah are teams that are right now playing much better basketball than ASU. So I think that that really makes the mission that much more unfeasible for ASU, even maybe to get a split on the mountain road trip. If they do lose both games, now a 4-game losing streak becomes a 6-game losing streak, and that quest of finishing in the top 4 in the Pac-12, getting that first round bye in the Pac-12 tournament, does seems almost as an unattainable goal. I mean, there's a lot that has to happen for ASU and in a positive direction. And again, it's just a team, like I said, just finds itself like it was a week ago today after that loss to Oregon State, just really trying to find answers. I'm not saying it would make you feel better if there were some moral victories and you had teams beating you in buzzer beaters or just beating you after you led for most of the game. But here you are playing Cal, and no disrespect to Cal, but again, you look at their body of work. They're definitely not one of the teams that are the shock and awe teams of the conference, if you will. And here you are on your home court. Again, you were 8-1 going into this weekend, and you lose to a Cal team. That was a game where ASU did not lead even for 1 second, and you're losing in double digits after you, at halftime, you're already trailing in double digits. Again, you just really cannot emphasize in hard, dark of a place Arizona State is in right now. And I don't mean to sound over dramatic, but again, when you are just really repeating the pattern that you had going into Pac-12 play, a very destructive pattern of a team that's disjointed, that the chemistry and cohesiveness is not there anymore. I don't think you can bring up the excuse of having 10 newcomers. I mean, here you are the first week of February. Whatever chemistry and cohesiveness issues needed to be solved a couple months ago, you like to think we're already solved right now. But when you don't see that happening in the first half, you see Jose Perez, a player that was maybe the only shining light of this team, even throughout this long losing streak, being benched for the entire second half. This Sun Devil squad just has a myriad of problems right now. I don't know if they'll be able to solve all of them. If they're able to solve some of them, and in short order, maybe they can split a very tough road series at the mountain schools. But right now I don't think there's really a whole lot of optimism. And on one note, Justin, I was afraid that after the losing to both Oregon schools, that apathy would really going to sink in. And I heard a lot of fans talking about that, but talking about that apathy. Wasn't a great crowd today against Cal. Even against Stanford wasn't all that great. You and I were standing here about just 2 weeks ago. Not only ASU beats USC, you have a crowd of over 13,000 in attendance, and that is just one of those things. Just like that 4-0 start, this looks like a million years ago. Doesn't look like it's anything that ASU can really build on. So we'll see what ASU can do between now and when they meet Utah and Colorado on the road. I mean, I'm sure there'll be longer film sessions, maybe longer team meetings, but ultimately it has to result in something tangible that ASU can really show on the court, that they really have turned the corner. But right now there really is a lot to prove, and if there are more fans out there that are pessimistic rather than optimistic, I really can't blame them at this juncture.
So Arizona State, they've proven that they could dig themselves out of holes in the past this season. but the past is the past, and now they look ahead to the future as they will be traveling to Boulder on Thursday to take on Colorado. To stay locked in on everything Arizona State sports related, go to DevilsDigest.com. Follow Devils Digest on Twitter at Devils Digest. This has been Justin Lacertosa and publisher Hod Rubino. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great night.